Romanians are very giving. Something that is different in Romania than America is when Romanians visit another Romanian, they always come with a gift or something to give the host. And I think that's really amazing, and it shows their appreciation in a tangible way, and I think that's really great. I love that Romanians love to dance. Going to a nunta, a wedding, or a petrecere, just any party, there's always going to be dancing. And when the hora comes, the traditional Romanian dance, you link arms and dance in a circle. It's the funnest part, and I love connecting with Romanians in that way. And I'm not very good at the foot part, but I like to try. It's always so much fun. Probably the biggest thing that I love and admire about the Romanian culture, cultura romanesca, is how family-centric or family-oriented Romanians are. I love that when you go into their home, usually they give you a pair of slippers to put on, and so you feel right at home, and they always serve you good food and make you feel welcomed and are great conversationalists. Never have a bad conversation with a Romanian, or not an interesting conversation with a Romanian. They always keep you on your feet and laughing. So I love that about the Romanian culture. My favorite Romanian food that I had was ardei umpluți. Ardei umpluți is basically a stuffed pepper with rice and pork with a tomato sauce over it, and it is delicious. It's foarte, foarte bun. I loved it just because it was something that when I went to Romanians' homes, they often made ardei umpluți, especially on a Sunday afternoon. That was kind of a special meal. It just has a great gust, a great flavor with the dill, and just a classic Romanian dish. My other favorite Romanian food is not a food, but it's a type. It's Romanian grătar. That is Romanian barbecue. A famous one that they grill is called mici. It's a type of sausage. It's very delicious. They have it with bread and mustard. Whenever we went to Romanian grătar, you knew that a Romanian was going to be serving you bread with muștar, mustard, and mici, and other things like sausages, cârnați. It's just so good. They just know how to barbecue really well. Probably the craziest food that I had was piftie. Essentially, it's chicken gelatin. Really interesting, very garlicky. Not great on its own, but it's alright with a little bit of bread. So it's kind of like a gelatin spread. So piftie, that is an interesting one. Usually we have it during Christmas time. And probably my favorite local food was in Piața Victoriei at Shawarma Orient. It was a great shawarma place. Just had probably the best shawarma that I've ever had, even better than 3-star kebab in my opinion. So I don't know, the jury's out, but I really like Shawarma Orient. Romanians are amazing cooks. I honestly have not had very many bad things that a Romanian has made. I've been to many Romanians' homes, and everything that I've had is delicious, from the ciorba to the ardei umpluți to the sarmale. Everything is amazing, and they're just so welcoming, and food is definitely a love language for Romanians. And that's my love language, so it's perfect. Another part of the Romanian culture that I really love is the way that they greet and say goodbye to you. Romanians will never leave you without wishing you good health or may God help you, things of that sort. And I think that's amazing, and it's just a very kind thing to say. And in America, we just say see you later. And I think we could follow the Romanian suit a little bit and wish people sănătate, numai sănătate, Doamne să te ajute, things like that. Most people live in apartment blocks, or blocuri as they say. These blocks were typically erected in the communist era, so they aren't really beautiful on the outside, but every Romanian home is beautiful on the inside. The first thing that you'll notice as you walk into a Romanian block or apartment building are all the beautiful doors. Each Romanian picks out a door that is unique, and it's very beautiful. And then when you walk inside, it's always very warm and comfortable, lots of rugs. They aren't the biggest homes usually, especially in the cities, but they're very welcoming. I feel like an apartament romanesc is very home for me. When you go out la țară in the countryside, people typically have homes not as big usually as American homes. Usually they're fenced. In the front yard they have a fence, and you have to either ring a doorbell or get their attention to get in. And then they have a little vineyard or a little garden, something like that in the countryside. It's very beautiful. When I first got in Romania, I had never taken a train, I've never taken a taxi, I'd never taken a tram. Basically, I hadn't really traveled with public transportation. So when I got to Romania and when we flew into Bucharest, I learned that I was going to be going to Arad, which is the west side of Romania, and about a 13-hour train ride. So to get to the Gara de Nord, we had to take a taxi, take a tram, take the autobus, and then get to the train station where we took a train. And I had never taken any of those means of transportation before. That was a huge culture shock. But I quickly learned to love going on long train rides and taking public transportation, because then I got to talk with people and learn more about cultura romanesca, Romanian culture. Some of my best memories and conversations were on our long train rides to Arad or wherever we were going. People are very willing to help teach you Romanian. They're patient with you oftentimes. They're just impressed that you're trying to learn their language, because not a lot of people learn Romanian. So my favorite places to visit in Romania were first Orșova, where Statuia de Cebal is. Statuia de Cebal, it's a big statue, kind of looks like Lord of the Rings. It's very beautiful, and we went on a little boat tour on Râul Dunării on the Danube River and went right next to the rock statue, and it was just a beautiful place, very mountainous, and probably one of my favorite places to visit in Romania. The other place that I loved was close to Brașov in the Carpathian Mountains. It's called Măieciu de Sus, and it's just a really countryside-esque area, little Romanian homes, wildlife. I went on the most beautiful hike over there, and you know, the Castelul Bran, the Brown Castle, Dracula's castle was right there, and just a beautiful place. Next to those places, I loved visiting Brașov, Cluj, Craiova, Bucharest. All of those cities have unique beauty to them. I really don't think there's very many places in Romania that aren't beautiful. It's a great land. It's been blessed with amazing places. Doamne să vă ajute și numai sănătate. Pa!